So I'm a physicist, and I'm a physicist who works for a company. So I look at quantum technologies from the perspective of applications as well. So we share the same kind of base view. And my speciality is quantum emitters. So what I want to achieve in my work is to build a device that will have its application in quantum network systems. So I work with photons. I don't work with electrons. I work with photons that have spins. And I manipulate spins. Of those photons, basically I want to achieve my quantum based on entanglement of the photons. But first of all, I have to actually produce those photons. And I have to produce those photons on demand. And in order to do this, the very basic element for me is the material. And I wouldn't achieve it with simple structures, simple, not so simple, with structures like quantum dots. And I've prepared only one slide, but hopefully that will take me quite a long time to talk. So I wanted to tell you from my perspective, when I looked back at the topic recently, I found out actually how much has changed since the beginning of quantum dots. So Stransky-Krastanov quantum dots, they were first experimentally achieved more or less when I was born. I'm slightly older than them, so about 35 years ago. And first of all, actually, people started showing those spectra of ensembles of quantum dots. And then eventually, after whatever 20 years, eventually we ended up showing individual lines and started working with those individual lines. Also within those 20, 30 years, we found out that we can achieve those quantum dots, those single quantum dots, at different wavelengths, starting from, let's say, 600 nanometers up to even 2 microns, which was quite attractive. Obviously, this all depends on the material that we're using, on different configurations. But there were always challenges. We wanted to control the density of those quantum dots in order to address those single individual quantum dots. But we knew at the same time, once we managed to do this with one particular system of quantum dots, that they present to be very amazing single photon and entangled photon sources. Obviously, there were still like little kind of issues like fine structure splitting that is related to the dot elongation, coherence times of the photons. And also there was a big question, can we and when can we start mass manufacturing those quantum dots and putting them into proper devices? Oops. Then also, probably about 10, 20 years ago, once the single quantum dots were achieved, people started working towards site-controlled quantum dots. And there was a great talk today by Ian Farrer showing the latest achievements within this field, where University of Sheffield could achieve the control over the density of quantum dots by placing them in determined, predefined positions on the wafers. Obviously, this is a great advancement because once you know where the dot is, you can build amazing device around it. And obviously, the mass production problem is essentially, it's seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, because potentially the site-controlled quantum dots, they can definitely help. That could be useful. Obviously, there are still questions whether these site-controlled quantum dots whether they will have improved fine structure splitting, what will be their line width, what will be their optical properties in general. But this is all something that will most certainly will be resolved over time. Then the next step forward, I believe a massive breakthrough, was inventing the new technology of growing such quantum dots. This is a new kind of type of quantum dots called droplet quantum dots. So in principle, you know, they look the same, except of the fact that this is SEM image, this is AFM image. They are also randomly nucleated, but the growth mechanism is completely different. I'm not going to tell you right now the details, but the great progress and advance of the droplet quantum dots is the fact that we've shown that they have amazing extended coherence times, very much improved fine structure splitting. They can reach telecom wavelengths easily, which means they are compatible with existing fiber optics infrastructure available like literally everywhere. And then finally, in the talk presented today by John Heffernan, we found out that there's been some first attempts of trying to combine the two, the droplets and site control quantum dots. And essentially, they've managed to show that they respond to basically finding the lowest potential energy on the surface of the wafers. The droplet like to kind of form themselves within the pit. Everything, this is kind of, they present about 70% occupancy within a certain area. And I believe that, you know, if we tick all those boxes, that could be the holy grail of quantum technology in terms of photons and manipulations of the photons. So, yeah, from my perspective and from the perspective of a person who plays with photons, I believe this is something worth stressing, that, yeah, we've got materials, we've got technology. If we combine the two, we end up with amazing features that can be later on, well, incorporated into devices and used to have proper applications in quantum technologies. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. I think it is really quantum physics. I've been pleased this morning to follow your session. It was very beautiful, yeah, very, very, very stimulating. And I would like to connect your talk with your previous speakers. I think that we have to increase much more the interaction between fundamental physics and application, because the example that always I do is that if I calculate the airplane and I have only theoretical equations, I will never go up you will never go in a plane. Mm-hmm. Only when you see the plane is working, yeah, that you believe. So I think technology is fundamental for realization of the impact of science for the community. So because we scientists, we like to do science, but we have also to produce device for the community, and the joint contact of fundamental theory, fundamental physics, and application should be really work a lot. We should do even much more what we do. So thank you for your talk, Joanna.
Yes, exactly. It's I think, for me, it all kind of starts with application. If you have an idea, I mean, my approach to it, just try it. Mm-hmm. Try it. Yeah. If it works, if it has a chance, slightest chance to work, you can always actually improve it by adding some simulations and, you know, improving certain parameters. But, yeah, just get your hands dirty and...
yes, I agree completely with you.
Yeah, and get the feeling, first of all.
I know.
Thanks.
So now we have next speaker, that is Valerie Vinokur.